Hi, I'm Mark Dannenberg, CEO and founder of Options Moneymaker, and this is the Profit Builder Weekly Review for August 28th. Well, what a week it was. On Monday of this week, we had an unprecedented move in all of the major indexes. If we look at a chart of the NDX, the NASDAQ 100, we'll see that on Monday, August 24th, the range of movement for the NASDAQ 100 was a low of 37.87 to a high of 41.99, over a 400-point range in the day. We saw the index start to move lower as recently as Thursday prior to Monday. And on Thursday, the high of the index was 44.84, moving to a low on Monday of 37.87. So about a 700-point move in 3 days. Since then, we went from a low of 37.87 back up to a high on Friday of 43.40. So by any measure, it's been a very volatile week. Same thing held true for the S&P 500. That's the second of the major indexes that we trade. You can see here how starting last week, we started to see a decline, and then we had a big gap down at the open on Monday. And since then, we have bounced back higher. Now, the bounce back higher is not really a surprise to us. This is something that we focus on. We pay attention to support, resistance, and Bollinger Bands. If you know how to read support resistance and you know how to read Bollinger Bands, then you'll understand when there are opportunities in the market. You'll also understand why not to be paralyzed by fear and anxiety based on this type of a move. It was a field day for financial media on Monday and then throughout the week because we saw a tremendous amount of activity that, as I said previously, was unprecedented in the market. And it panicked a lot of investors and a lot of traders. If you're not confident in what you're doing and you're using strategies that you're just unsure of how to manage or adjust, then it's understandable why you would react the way you did. We want to, instead of reacting, we want to respond to what the market is doing. And so when we saw the index move down to its low and we saw it come down hard to a line of support, and we also saw it trading below the lower Bollinger Bands, those were all signals to us that most likely we were going to see some sort of a move back higher. And on the S&P 500, for example, you can see here how it moved down to its low on Monday of 1867, and then it closed on Friday. Sorry, it hit a high on Friday of 1993. That's a pretty healthy range for the S&P 500 for 1 week. And then the third index that we trade is the Russell 2000. Very similar activity here, where we saw the decline start as early as the 19th. That was last week. We saw the index continue to decline until it hit its low on Monday. Actually, on RUT, it hit its low on Tuesday of 1104, and then it closed actually at its high on Friday of 1163. Again, very healthy move lower and a significant move higher on RUT. So how did all that play into our positions? I heard a lot of traders talking about I got wiped out because the market moved so significantly lower. If you were trading all rising bias positions, then you certainly had a challenge with your positions. If you're trading all declining bias positions, then you probably made some profits. We generally, in the Profit Builder program, have a balance between rising bias and declining bias positions. Because of prior patterns that we had identified, we had seen opportunities to trade to the upside. This move down caught us by surprise. The significance of this move down caught us by surprise. However, just because the move surprised us doesn't mean that it left us out in the cold. So, how did we do this week? Well, let's take a look at that. In our Profit Builder program and the Profit Builder account from the 24th of August, which was Monday, to the 28th, so that was a full week, that was Monday through Friday, we actually locked in profits of $1,739.04. That's net after fees and commissions. Now, how were we able to do that when we had rising bias positions? We had several rising bias positions in play when this big move down happened. Well, number one is you never leave yourself fully exposed. You want to protect your capital as much as possible, and you have to have some sort of a management adjustment strategy in your tool set. You can't just go out there and trade and expect everything to work in your favor. Even when one of these big moves happens, you've got to be able to manage it and adjust it, and that's exactly what we did. Now, there are two different levels of managing and adjusting in your trading. Level number one is when you adjust an individual position that is not working out. But level two is what we used this week, and it's less likely that we end up having to use this, but we used a strategy where we actually were managing our portfolio. So what we did was we implemented a management technique that we have been teaching our traders this week, how to protect their portfolio against a loss when you have a specific position that is about to expire that week, and you may have a loss on that position. And that's exactly what we were able to do this week. When this big move happened on Monday, we had a near weak position that was a rising bias position. Well, it was obvious to me on Monday that we were likely going to have a loss on that position. And what we did was we implemented a management technique that people have been learning this week that allowed us to still take profits this week and overcome the loss on that individual position. So it's been an interesting week, and what I've said to our traders and our subscribers in the Profit Builder program is it's a great week to be learning how to trade, because as I said, this move that occurred was an unprecedented move. The amount of the movement and the timing of the movement was unprecedented. At no time have we experienced that before. So to learn how to manage and navigate your way through a market like this is one of the best things that a trader can learn. If you can navigate your way through this type of market and lock in profits, then you can navigate through any type of market. So let's go to our very simple tracking spreadsheet. You can see here that on our spreadsheet, we've already plugged in our $1,739.04 of profits for the week that started August 24th. Our goal for the week was a profit of $1,280. We ended up beating that goal. So the decline started last week, and we took a profit there. And then it followed through this week significantly, and yet we've taken another profit. And we have some positions for the next couple of weeks that we need to manage or adjust, but we have our management and adjustment strategies in play that will help us overcome any drawdown or loss that we could potentially take. Now, I'm not going to guarantee we won't take a loss in the next couple of weeks. I'm just saying that we don't get preoccupied and paralyzed by this type of a move. We look at this type of a move as opportunity to learn and opportunity to implement strategies that we know are going to protect our portfolio and continue to harvest profits. So where does that leave us to date? Well, the Profit Builder program started back on the week of 3/23, right at the beginning, just a little bit before the beginning of last quarter. We started with a live account balance of $11,000, and since the beginning of the program, where we allocated $5,000 of risk, we have earned $19,750 of profits to date. Now, that is through 22 weeks. We have 4 more weeks to go in the current quarter, and then we'll be at our 6-month anniversary of the Profit Builder program. So in just under 6 months, we've gone from a $5,000 risk to $19,750 of profits. That is averaging about 8.5% per week in terms of returns. And we can see here that if we continue at that level, that same run rate, that by the end of the quarter, we should have a cumulative compounded profits of $22,000. If I take that and forecast out to the 1-year anniversary of the Profit Builder program, right now, with us being almost halfway through our first year, we have a forecast of about $108,000 of profits. So no guarantees about anything going forward, only guarantees about what's already happened. These are locked in, secured, realized gains and losses. We've had some losses along the way. They're embedded in the full number. You see, the only number that really matters to us is the final number at the end of the week on Friday. When we record that profit loss number for the week, that's the only number that matters. And if during that week we took some losses and during that week we took some gains, but the net number is a positive number, then it was a winning week. And you can scan back here and see that we had prior weeks where we actually took a loss, where we had losses during that week that overshadowed the gains. But in this Profit Builder account, we've only had 3 weeks where we've actually reported a loss for the week. So we're pretty proud of the program. We're pretty proud of our results so far. And a lot of people will ask me the question, well, how does your program hold up? How does it work when you have a major market meltdown? Well, I think we just demonstrated that this week. Actually, the meltdown started last week. So in the last 2 weeks, I believe very firmly that we've demonstrated that. And in the next couple of weeks, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out also, because we still have 3 positions spread out over the next 3 weeks that were all rising bias positions when this market move down took us by surprise. When it melted below our support, when it dropped significantly below our Bollinger Bands, it was just a very unusual move. Those types of moves will happen. Not very often. In this case, the amount of the movement and as quickly as it happened was unprecedented. So it'll be interesting if you stay tuned and follow along in the next 3 weeks. Actually, I'll just say in the next 4 weeks as we round out the quarter. By the time we're done with the quarter, we're done with all of our management and adjustments that were necessary in order to make sure that there was no significant negative impact to our portfolio. But when you can achieve this type of a result in the type of market that we experienced Monday through Friday, then that's the best testimonial you can have to your ability to trade effectively and earn consistent profits. So if you like what you hear, if you've been following along with us and would like to learn more, check us out at ommprofitbuilders.com. That's ommprofitbuilders.com. I'm Mark Dannenberg. I am the CEO and founder of Options Moneymaker. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week with another update.